sure about that?
QFusion. Let's get it in.
Yo, welcome back. This is your boy QFusionReacts with another video. Oh my god, man. Oof. Oh my god, man. That felt so damn good. Thank you guys. Welcome back again. I appreciate you guys joining me for another episode. We are here breaking down a conversation by the late great Kevin Samuels. If you don't know Kevin Samuels and you've been living under a rock, Kevin Samuels is one of the big pioneers. I don't want to put him in the box of the manosphere, but he is essentially one of those sort of premier figures that took that helm to where he, looked to give the men of today, and the ones that are sort of sitting in the back, that voice, right? The voice to which, you can look at a man who's embracing sort of the nuances and the craziness that's happening in the dating world, having those tough conversations, counteracting some of the heathenry that's going on, but also in the same due breath, looking to correct the foolishness that's happening on the side of the men. If you guys watch my podcast at the Truth Media Podcast, we have a lot of these conversations, right? We talk with, we hold men accountable, we hold women accountable. But I think a lot of times what goes undetected is the level of fervor that we give to the men that are certainly, who are quite delusional, right? And there's a lot of guys that are existing out there in today's day and age where you just simply got to be like, bruh, and just like we'll put them in a category to which you just try not to associate with. So it looks like in this conversation with Kevin Samuels, by way of the title line, it looks like it got a little contested, but which, definitely happens when you're dealing with men who are a little unhinged and work from that emotional state. Right. So what I want to do is jump in this video, guys. If you can, for me, like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling what I'm dropping down. And let's get into the video.
How old are you?
35.
Okay. What are they getting wrong?
I'm 35. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a business owner. Got an 8-year-old son. To make it short and simple, it's just the ability to listen, not hearing to respond, but listening to respond and work with the man, as opposed to seeing it like you trying to tell him, you're trying to tell him what to do, or you're trying to come across like you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was listening to the last conversation, you was talking about that gap differential, right? And you were saying, you need to be able to teach a woman something. The biggest issue that I find with the different relationships I've been through, and I'm in Chicago, I'm from the south side of Chicago, that I've been through is that the women find it hard to work with the man because of sometimes how either they were brought up, or if they had two parents in the household. My parents been married 25 plus years.
Okay. Hold on. We're kind of starting to ramble.
Okay, go ahead.
What the fuck? Women's biggest issue is they're getting wrong their ability to listen in order to hear. Make it simple, because you said several things, and one, if you want a woman to listen to you, are you talking about women in your past?
No, I'm even talking about.
Okay, I need you to stay still. The camera's moving all over the place.
All right, I got you. Can you see me?
Yeah, because go ahead. You're a personal trainer. You're a personal trainer, and you have a father. You're a father of an 8-year-old boy or a girl.
Boy.
Do you have custody, or does mom have custody?
I just actually won a court battle. That we both got partial custody. I was
Why
going
didn't you
through
and the
that
mother
big
get
money.
married?
Um, at a young age, I was shot at 20, and I had some other stuff I was going through, and
You were 27 when you had a kid. Why didn't you marry the mother?
right. So the reason I didn't marry her because I was out doing my thing. I'm not even gonna BS
What
you.
does that mean?
That means having sex with multiple people, just out living, but always took care of my son. But yeah, I mean,
Okay, so I'm gonna ask a hard question.
Fellas, this is if there's anything you take away, right? I want you to see the way that when you're talking with, well, again, when you're, I mean, look at the way he's presenting himself, right? The Kevin Samuels that I've watched, right? It, you should, men, when we have a conversation amongst each other, you have to have a certain level of diction, right? I'm not saying that you need to be come across as a scholar, come across as somebody, but you have to be direct, right? You also need to find yourself in a way to describe whatever it is that you're looking to sort of to put together. You need to fathom. I mean, sorry, you need to sort of package it in which a way where you can collect your ideas, because it seems as though this guy, I see a lot of like splattering of different occasions that's happened in his life, and then I see like excuses sprinkled in there, and as anybody that deals with anything of the like, right? You definitely are able to sniff out excuses like from the get-go, and so it's very tough to have a conversation where you want to be accountable with men, right, amongst men, amongst each other, and like you're not able to get to the nitty-gritty of a question, because every time I ask you a question, you're sort of bouncing around it. Oh, I got shot in this, and I got that has nothing to do with the woman, right? And if it does have something to do with the woman, you're going to need to get to that quickly, so that way we don't lose track, because this is a short conversation. It's not meant to be a 4 hour long interview.
How many children does she have?
now she had one with me. That was her first. She has two other kids now.
Ooh.
So she has three total kids. She lives in Michigan. I live in Chicago.
All right, so you want women like her to
No, hell
listen?
no. Hell no. Not at
So
all.
then, what are we
Or what kind of
talking
okay? Who are
about?
you talking about then? Because I'm
No,
trying to
I mean you said
okay, but what I'm trying to understand is anytime we say what's going on with women, it usually ties back into something that's going awry in the women we're dealing with.
absolutely. Absolutely. Right. That's just my son's mom, but I'm going back to your general question. To just
Okay.
simplify to make it simple, what I found, because I've dated when I was 32, I had a woman who was making 50,000 a month. And she was 39. No bullshit. She was 39. So I've had a different range, and what I've found, just one thing in all my relationships, is just like in the art of conversation, accountability, things like
You're
that.
not making it make sense. You're chest pounding. You're not making any sense.
You okay, you
I'm
said, what
32.
do
She is
women get
39.
wrong?
She's making $50,000 a month. What are they getting wrong? Women are getting wrong. What are they
The
getting wrong? Not
right, I'm
listening.
asking, right, the ability to listen, because listening is cognitive, right? And hearing
Well,
is
I'm gonna tell you.
passive.
I'm gonna tell you. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm hearing.
Right,
I am a man,
right, absolutely.
and I'm having a hard time understanding. Maybe men need to become better communicators. Maybe you need to become a better communicator, because
Absolutely.
I am struggling to stay on the path of you.
Okay, so let
So
me get
so much so that I've had to ask you 2 or 3 times to reframe it. So I agree, women need to listen in general, but I also can understand if we are not clear in what we are given. See, Sun Tzu will tell you that if the army does something wrong, first you blame the general. Did the
right.
general give clear orders? Were the orders understood? Could the
Right.
troop follow it out? If so, then the fault belongs in the commander. But if on the second turn, if it's done wrong and everything else remains the same, then the fault belongs on the soldier. If you are the commander and your orders aren't being followed, the first person that's at fault is the general.
Okay.
Are you sure that the women you're trying to get to listen to you understand you, can carry out what you want to carry out?
I mean, yeah, it definitely comes down to who you pick, and I mean, it's through trial
But
and error.
what I'm saying, are you
I agree with
sure when you're communicating with somebody that they understand you and that they can carry out what you're asking to be carried out?
you. Repeat that one more time for me.
Are you
Oh Lord. Okay. All right. Like I get Kevin Sandwich's point, but this is where you see like a clear indicator of like lost men, right? Because I think that a lot of times, we do put this moniker of like, men need to be this, men to be that, but it's very clear that not all men are created to fulfill that sort of to reach that moniker, right? To reach that ability to be able to sort of direct, right, and direct the stable, right? Because that's essentially what you do when you're dealing with women. You need to be able to find a way in which to navigate, obviously, their emotional state, right? Because anything you say can be used against you in the court of law, right? But if you're not able to create an environment by which they can sit there for however long you guys are having a conversation, and they can be able to get captured by the verbiage that you're utilizing throughout the course of the conversation. If you're not able to do these things, what's going to happen a lot of times is women are going to be constantly giving you that, huh? No, really, no. Well, okay, all right. And what they're going to be saying in the back of their head is like, okay, this guy does not have the juice, right? He's not that guy. He may think he's that guy, but by the way that he communicates and approaches tough conversations, he is not that guy. And also too, and I think something that Kevin Samuels was maybe sort of approaching in this conversation is the women that you're choosing to sort of put in that state where they are actually able to listen. Well, are they women that are of the value, or have the value to be able to understand, okay, when a man is talking, of a man of value is talking, then I need to be listening, right? Are they able to even figure out, are they even able to even pick out men of value? Are they even able to distinguish? Are they even able to discern, what a man of value is? And a lot of the times, guys that are dealing with hellacious women, I mean, and I can't say that, I have been someone who is who has not fell short with regards to that. I mean, we've all picked wrong to a degree, right? I don't want to say all, but a lot of us have picked wrong. All right, but if you're just continually picking the same type of woman, well, you're going to find yourselves on these forums just basically going straight into the anti-feminist sort of I hate women, sort of mantra, and then you start running down that MG Tao nonsense, and so that's sort of like that dangerous cesspool of men that are essentially, I don't want to say this guy, but they they have these gripes about women, and they're not even really able to even substantiate what the hell their gripes are even coming from.
sure that the people you're talking to understand what you're saying and have the ability to do what it is
Right.
you want done?
So in some occasions it's yes, in some occasions it's
Well,
no.
in this occasion where it's no, you can't expect anything different.
Right? No. Absolutely. And then at that point in time, it's up to the man, like, or people in general, to cut that off and learn from that. What I'm just basically answering and I hear everything that you're saying. I'm listening. Is you said, what are women getting wrong? And I'm not going all into deep conversation about everything else. I'm just saying, for me, for my group of men that I know, my homies, my friends, or whatever like that, it's just the ability to have a conversation, to listen. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I
Because when
would
you
say that
don't,
I hear you,
and
but
that's all I'm saying.
okay. I hear you, but I'm also going to challenge to men in general, black men in particular. Far too often, black men, we just ramble and talk.
Mm-hmm.
One of my abilities is I get straight to the point and I cut through the clutter. You want someone to listen to you, you gotta keep. There's something called the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it
Right.
simple.
Right.
Because if ultimately there's a communication breakdown, that's two ways. Communication breakdown is always two ways, and more often than not, it's a breakdown in people not communicating, the person doing the communicating not being clear. Less often, it's the person being actively listening. That's the less part. But I agree with what you're saying. Appreciate it.
It's hard to believe that Mint Mobile can be
Goddamn
good at just
commercial.
$15 a month. So, as Mint's new owner, I brought in one of our...
I think that was before we get to the next person, I guess, in the call-in, that was, I mean, shit, that was a very, profound point that Kevin Sam was making. Again, he's not, Kevin Sam doesn't say, he doesn't reinvent the wheel. He didn't reinvent the wheel when he would have these conversations. But a lot of the times, I think people overcomplicate, the essence of how it is to engage as a man, right? Like, you don't need to wow women with a huge vernacular, a huge with diction, with a huge vocabulary, or with stories upon stories. Like, a lot of the times, you just need to just walk her down literally by letting her just talk herself into the experience. And so a lot of the guys, I mean, the girls will say it all the time, is that men usually shoot themselves in the foot, by way of the things they say. And it's really clear that a lot of men in today's society, they just really don't know how to communicate with the opposite gender, right? They don't understand levels. They don't understand the room. Even a lot of these guys that are out here coaching men on how to date and how to be, I guess you would say, how to be a chauvin, to be out here on the prowl. A lot of the times when you watch them interact with women just in a, in a back and forth exchange, you start to see the cringiness that exists even in the way they talk to women, right? So I think that's a growing problem in today's day and age.
Yes, modern women need to be more patient. Granted. But patience needs some security. Patience without security or knowing you're going to get the outcome you want is foolish. It's just waiting. 2, read your Sun Tzu. It is the general responsibility to give clear, concise direction. And oftentimes, I will say that I even suffer from that, thinking I was saying one thing and it wasn't. So you often hear me say, what does that mean to you? I'll repeat what I'm saying. I'll make sure the person heard what I said. I'll even say, repeat it. Why? Because that's communication. See, I think there's a possibility that many men need to improve your communication skills, and having a lack of communication skills frustrates men because women are not doing what we're asking. Well, are you communicating clearly? That's the first question you always got to ask. Am I communicating clearly and concisely? If not, if that's then, can they do it? If those two things are aligned, then you can have some expectation.
I just wanted to skip through, but yeah, I mean, that's another good point by him, by Kevin Samuels. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, nobody's perfect.
All right.
Nobody's perfect.
What are women getting wrong today?
Nobody's perfect. I mean, I'm really aware of that. I struggle with that sometimes, but I think a lot of the times when we're having these conversations, it's about the lack of awareness, right? And I say it a lot of the times on this channel and also on the podcast, that lack of awareness that a lot of modern men in today's day and age, simply just don't have, right? That social acuity to where when you walk in the room, and you see you read the individuals that are around you, you're not able to pick up on levels. Right. And I think the best communicators are able to decipher, the sort of the ambiance of those around them, and they're able to sort of match, if not excel in being able to have a conversation of a distinguished nature. Right. So that way you're able to then, leave that person with the sense of like, okay, wow, okay, this person's pretty thoughtful, insightful. It's one of the biggest compliments that I'd love to hear. When I have a conversation with people that are older than me. I work in the real estate space, and I also work in the finance world. So a lot of the times the people that I'm interacting with are 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years older than me. So I have to be able to speak in a way where I'm able to quickly get to the crux of my issue or the problem at hand, and be able to communicate what those issues are, but then also provide them with a very quick and nuanced explanation as to how we're going to go about solving said issues, whether it be in the real estate world or in the finance world, right? And then I get a lot of compliments where it's like, yo, it's like, hey, you are somebody, you speak very well for, someone your age. You seem so young. You compose yourself well. You have a great, you have a very, let's say a very embracing stature, and you're definitely somebody. You seem like you command rooms, and that to me is one of the biggest compliments you can have as a man, where that confidence just oozes out of your being, and people are able to pick up on it.
I think it's the feminine
What's going on, buddy?
aspect. In general, I was married for 6 years. I have 2 kids out of that marriage, and from what I see, most of the time, in relationships past that and with that, is just that feminine side of things. They want to kind of take over at a certain point when a man tries to allow them to have a voice, allow them to, try to make some decisions together and do some things, and just the nagging overall.
Okay, let's make it clear. Are you saying that women have a problem with the feminine aspect? Or are you saying, it sounds like you're saying women are being masculine?
Yes, women are being too masculine. Absolutely.
All right, and then you said something about when you allow them to, say again, that you allow them to what?
To have more of a say so in the
more of a say so in what regard?
I would say just in the aspect of they want certain things to transpire, like maybe you helping out with certain aspects of the child care, or you helping out with certain aspects of just around the house things.
Well, I don't understand where a woman. What the fuck? What? Can be in her masculine by asking you to help with the kids. So I'm not being clear. What are you allowing her more latitude with that's in the masculine realm?
I would just say just feeling like they're the one in control of certain things,
Such as
with the kids, with the kids, or just
such
as let's say how the child should be bathed, or how the dishes should be washed, or where they should be put. It's the tone.
But what I'm not understanding, brother. That's the purview of women.
Oh shit!
Like why do we have any input in that at all?
That's my thing. If the man is already handling the situation, but they
okay, but why are you handling it?
Why? Because in my situation, I was able to be home more often.
But that's not your. See, listen to what I'm about to say. You said that women are problem with the femininity and they're being too masculine, but you're in her territory. What you just described was a man who was not in his masculine. You were in the feminine space. And you can't be tripping that a woman treated you like a woman in her space.
So this is something that, really bothered me about the people that came for Kevin Samuels, upon his, departure from the earth. Where they were saying like all he did was bash women, all he did was talk down on women and then make them feel less than, and all this other nonsense, right? If they took the time to watch more videos like this and be able to have that understanding that, hey, look, like he gave it to both sides. Now, again, when you're having a conversation with somebody, as I said before, you have to see the levels. If there's a level of disrespect, right, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you have to address that level of disrespect with a certain level of fervor, so that way people know not to play with you, right? This is something that Kevin Samuels made a home in. Now, does that say that he only did this with women? No, because he had a coaching business where he would talk to men on a consistent basis on the beginning stages of YouTube, his journey on YouTube. But the thing is that didn't get the traction that we know and love Kevin Samuels for. People started only tuning in when women were out here being vivacious, being loud, being obnoxious, but he wasn't getting the same love from people when he was, when people were, when men were getting lambasted by him on a consistent basis. Women were probably sitting there going, "Oh yeah, you tell them, they ain't shit, blah blah blah." But as soon as he has the conversations with the other side of the fence, oh, now he's a misogynist. Now he's hateful of women and all this other things. This conversation, just in this last couple minutes, it shows that it showcases somebody that is extremely aware of the dynamics that exist between men and women and respects those differences, right? And that's something that I can respect from somebody that has these tough conversations.
So
Just because you were home,
not really home, but I mean,
it doesn't
come on,
matter.
man.
That's her space.
Come on, man. Don't dance. Don't dance. Don't dance. You provide information. It's court of law, man. Everybody, when you have a conversation with men, women, they, thems, whatever, understand that, we don't, if you are, I look at it like this. If you are a man, right, we don't operate on the, well, I mean this, or I said this to that, it may mean that. No, you say what you say, right? And otherwise you don't say it at all, right? That's a very feminine thing when you start to do the whole like, well, I don't mean like I was, home like all the time. I mean, Ninja, you literally provided the information that you were home, working from home in that space on a more consistent basis. So that was something you brought to the table as far as information. So you have to then accept the fact that you're in that space undutifully so. Like, that's not where you're supposed to be at, buddy. Like, that's something you would ask of her, is to be the person. Hey, look, the dishes need to be in the dishwasher. Hey, well, she's been doing the dishes. You know what I'm saying? That's the space. She is owning that space. So don't be mad at her just because she's telling you, like, hey, stop putting the dishes in the dishwasher and they need to just be dried out. Like you want her to do the dishes, right? I ain't trying to do the dishes.
Let's say you were rich, right? You could still be home. Just like I know, women have a different way of nesting. They like the house to look a certain way. We're supposed to be responsible for the outside, and they're responsible for the inside. They like the pillows fluffed a certain way, this, that. And just because you can fluff a pillow, that's their job. You ain't asking her to cut the yard or edge it, are you? I mean, she could do it, but you know how to do it different. You're in her space.
and I would say also the aspect of being able to take in information. I heard what you said to the last person.
Ready to start eating healthier? Meet Kachava. Kachava is the world's healthiest all-in-one meal.
As the general, are you giving out, the right orders and measuring those things? And I saw it as I aligned everything, biblically, as I was giving out, those.
Oh man, what?
What the fuck? What? Those types of things. And, she was submissive in the beginning.
They were giving her information. What kind of information are you talking about then?
Information such as maybe different ways to handle finances.
Whose job is that to handle the finance?
I mean, we both handle them.
Okay, see, if you listen to me, this is a good conversation because you mentioned biblically, but I've mentioned this before. Oftentimes we overload our women doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Pressure's made for shoulders, not for hips.
Oh my God!
God damn, Kevin. Pressure's made for shoulders.
Did you have an abundance of finances?
Not at that time. Now I do.
All right, so that's a pressure situation. You're involving a mother in stressful financial decisions, could you have handled them yourself?
Yeah, I think I could have handled them all myself. It
Then
would.
you should have.
Mm.
We don't need, and I've done this myself too. That's why I said pressure's made for shoulders, not for hips. See, what you've described is a situation where you're in places you shouldn't necessarily be in the best fit, and then places where you should be 100%, you're delegating. You should stay over here, and you let her be over there. If you can't handle the finances, and she's better at it, then that's one thing. But if she's not better at it and more qualified, then your job is to go find somebody who's more qualified, because that's the security of the house. And let her fluff the pillows. But you describe a situation where the house has overlapping roles. And that doesn't really work that well. I've been there. It doesn't work that well.
It don't work.
I don't live that way now.
Right.
See, the problem that I agree, a lot of our women are in their masculine because too many of us are abdicating our masculine and giving to their area. So if you've ever, I don't know if you ever have any Hispanic or Mexican friends, I was surprised to see.
I'm half Puerto Rican.
I was surprised to see how little the men they really did around the house. Even though they could do, black men would have been up doing this and doing that. When I went by my Mexican friend's house, the guys were in the guys' room and the women were doing, and there was peace, happiness, joy, and little Coronas and shit. Yeah, man. So just think about it this way. Even though I have a client who's a multimillionaire, and they were having marital issues. And I told them they hadn't had sex for months. I was like, what I need you to do is I need you to get up in the morning and leave the house before the crack of dawn, and then you come back after it's dark. And don't tell your wife. Tell your wife you've been out checking on the businesses. I need you to do that for a week. And he called back off the Wednesday and said, oh my God, after a few days, she jumped on me. And we've been going at it like teenagers. And I was like, what I need you to do is I need you to go rent an office space and executive space and go put a PlayStation in there. But I need you to get up and go. Like you're leaving to go to work every day. He's like, why do I need to do that? I'm a multimillionaire. Because your woman needs to see you go to work. Women do not need us in their space all the time. They want us away, even though we can be there. We need to give women time to decompress, time to miss us, time to fart, pick their nose.
That is a huge, and I'm going to leave it on this note. I mean, if you guys want, you can take a look at the video to see the rest of the video. I haven't really seen this worst ending area, but this is such a huge missing component within the dynamics of men and women in heterosexual dating. I mean, obviously, I'm not homosexual, so I don't really talk on that space. But for heterosexual dating, there's that huge gap. I mean, now with the remote working, where people are able to, make good money in state, but work from home at the luxury of their own places. This is something that's happening where men and women are constantly, and it happened a lot during the pandemic, where people were just constantly in each other's spaces. In the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, that was a time where when the man would be gone for 8 hours, there was no cell phones, there was no there was no location tracker, there was no nothing, location history, none of that shit, where you would be constantly able to pinpoint where somebody was at on a consistent basis. There was that level of like, okay, hey, he's out, he's hustling, he's grinding, he's doing what he's got to do. And then when you come home, you see that look on his face, as far as to say like, damn, he was definitely putting in work. And then you start to go like, okay, that level of attraction of somebody who's grinding for the family, and that, that face of like, of going through the trials and tribulations of a hard work day, that was something that would garner, attraction, garner respect, garner some semblance of cohesion within that family unit, especially between the two heads. Well, I don't want to say the two heads, but the matriarch and the patriarch, right? So that's something that I think is sorely missing in today's day and age, and I think that's a very sound piece of advice for somebody. I mean, it's not to say that everybody can do that, right? Where they could just go get an office space and rent it out and whatnot. But sometimes you need to just step away from the home, right? Step away, give yourself and the ladies some space, within their own right, to become the masters of their own domain, right? And when you do that, then they start to go, oh, hey, you know, where is my girl? Where is my baby? Where is he at? What's he doing? What's on his? I wonder if he's thinking about me. I wonder if he's talking about me. I wonder what he's saying. Like that is how you start to build attraction in your woman. Because if they're always so predictably able to know where you're always going to be at some point or another, she's going to be looking for guys that are going to be able to keep her on her toes, right? And that's when the destruction happens in the household, right? So thank you guys for joining me for this video. This was really insightful. Leave it up to Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, for being able to garner this conversation. And then it was way smoother than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more hostile, but essentially it was this was a great way for him to like sort of walk down men and even their own logic, because not all men, no matter what people will have you believe, not all men are built logically sound. So sometimes they need to get that, to be able to get somebody who walks them through that plank of logic to get to that final goal of reason. Right. So guys, thank you so much again for joining me. I really enjoyed this video. Rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. I really look forward to talking to you guys soon. Please check me out on my other channel at The Truth Media Podcast with my co-host Double A Hef. We are at 120 subscribers. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers before the end of the year. I think that's very attainable. We have gone from we went from 17 subscribers to 100 as of March. And this was all between the October to March of 2023. October of 2022 to March of 2023. And I'm really excited about our growth, and I'm really excited about growing this channel as well. And the only way I can do that is with your guys' help. So if you like and share and subscribe, because you like what I'm saying, or you like the types of content that I delve into, I would be more than gracious. All right. Talk to you guys.
Are you sure about that?
QFusion.